So live life as if it's easy, right? That's a great, God, Michael, that's just a fantastic concept, right? Well, how in the hell are we supposed to do that? Well, I've got a technique that I use. And the hardest thing about this technique is just remembering to do it because it's pretty easy. Now, I've used it on very easy things, on up to like mid-level things of difficulty or problems in your life. Sometimes the harder things in life are a little bit more difficult and a little more involved. But we're going to get into this technique, and which actually this leads me into this whole other thing, which is I'm Michael Kowal, and this is my channel. And what this series is, I'm calling it the How to Live Life series because these are the kind of like little tips and things that I've learned that has made my life a lot easier. And a lot of times I end up having to remind myself to use these things because as you go through life, obviously we get busy and things get crazy and all of this stuff. But I'm recording these as a nice reminder for me, primarily, to be honest with you, because I relearn all this stuff as I talk about it in the videos, but also for you, so that you can use these if you're able. And one of the things I like to say about this series is that this is kind of like my version of how to live life, and you are probably in the process of coming up with your own version of how to live life, because each one of us lives our own path. And that's the other thing that I've figured out is that I can't listen to everybody out there, and you can't either, because you're unique as I am. But I think the more that we all share these kind of ideas, the more we can actually learn to live life a little bit better and hopefully do it a lot faster than it's taken me to learn all this stuff. So anyway, so let's get on with this. So how do you exactly live as if life is easy? Well, what you do is if you get into a particular thing, and the classic situation, we're going to use this one because it'll kind of sound familiar to you, is looking for a parking spot, okay? Now, if you're anything like me, I'll generally go in towards looking for a parking spot, and usually my backside tightens up. I start already with the doom and gloom, and because usually I'm late for something, and I know I'm never going to find a parking spot. Now, what if you lived your life as if life was easy, right? And what would happen as a result of that? In this particular thing, right, it's going to be that there's going to be a parking spot available there. Now, I'll be honest with you, I have used this technique so often, both in, looking for parking spots or trying to get, a specific orange at a market or something like that I really need, or whatever it happens to be, an herb. Or like at work, where I used to deal with this one person who was pretty angry all the time. And in each of these things, I've used this technique to essentially skip over the bad version of what it could have been. And in this, all you simply do is you take the thing that you're most fearing in the moment, the thing that you're kind of like your mind starts playing tricks with you and imagines the worst scenarios. So in the parking lot situation, of course, you're not going to get a parking spot in time, or it's completely impossible because there are people just still circling. In the case of going to a market, if you need a particular, marjoram or something like this, you're going to get there and you're going to get the brand that you want. And dealing with this coworker, I can't tell you how many times that I would get to work. I would be worried going there because this particular person got angry a lot, and I knew this project that I was working on, this person was going to explode. But I used this and I flipped it around and I told myself, well, what if they weren't angry? What if everything was perfectly amazing when I arrived? And sure enough, when I switched it over to that, I simply take the opposite of what I'm afraid of. And I hold that in my mind and I say, you know what? Life is going to be easy. What if life is easy? What if it's as easy as me just showing up there and the problem is going to be diffused? I get the perfect spot, whatever it happens to be. I come up with the perfect video to do this week, right when I sit down to shoot it. It happens because I get out of my way. I stop focusing on the outcome that I'm afraid of, and it ends up being that allows in then the opportunity for the perfect thing to happen. It allows for the possibility of life being easy in that moment. And it's kind of funny because it works amazingly well. Now, the thing is when you first start this off, chances are it may not work completely consistently every time. But what I've found is that the further I've gone in life, the more I've, done a lot of the other work on myself of, coming to love myself a lot more, of letting go of a lot of things. This technique is actually getting close to foolproof. Again, when I remember to do it. It's amazing. And it's funny. A friend and I were talking recently, and he was using the analogy of the parking spot. And he says, well, how can you be sure, how can you even know that it's not just simple numbers? It's a chance kind of a thing. And I'll tell you, and I'll be honest with you, truly honest, because after 62 years of living through all of this stuff, I can see exactly when things aren't working, and I will try to make changes along the way, and the outcome is always the same. Generally, I don't get the parking spot. My coworker is pissed off at me, and I can't find the oranges or the marjoram that I wanted. But the more that I've done this and done the rest of the work, it is amazing how easy life gets when you remember to focus in that direction. That you are going to create this, that you wonder, what if life is easy? Now, I've used this, like I say, on the smaller things like all of those, and I've used it on larger things for larger projects, a lot of outcomes that I've wanted in my life too. And it's not to say that it's perfect all the time, and especially if it's an outcome or a thing where I've got a lot of other tightness around it, it's going to be potentially a little more difficult to make it happen. But I can't tell you how often that this does work when I remember to do it. It's simple. You take the outcome that you're afraid of, the thing that's going to make life difficult for you, the thing you're worried about. You choose its opposite. You figure, what if life is easy? What if this thing happens effortlessly? And you hold on to that. And you sit there and you trust in it. You sit there and you say, well, yeah, let me live life as if it's easy. And all of the other stuff falls away. And a lot of times, the result will happen that you want. You've literally focused on the thing that you've wanted. You've literally made life easy. Now, wouldn't that be great if you lived your life like that? I'll tell you, you can, and it does work every single time for me lately. So try that this week. Have a ball, have some fun. Remember that life can be easy. What if life is easy? And try it. And I hope, but I think that you're going to find that it works. How do you want to live your life? Live as if life was easy. Love ya.